right, moving down below our channel box and later editor, and right on the bottom we've got our playback controls. Here's how we can play back our scene and work with our animation. So if I click play forward, it plays forward. I hit play backwards, it plays backwards. Couple playback hotkeys to keep in mind. On my Mac, I can hold the Option and hit the V key to play forward. You can hit the Escape key at any time to stop the playback. If you're on Windows, you can hit Alt V, and that will play your animation forward. And again, the Escape key will stop the playback. We can see the animation playing back in our time slider right here, and each frame, each one of these ticks is a frame. That's what they are. So you can see we can scrub this way. We can use step forward one frame, step backwards one frame, go to first frame, go to last frame, go to keyframe once we create our keyframes. So we'll use these playback controls to playback, navigate through our keyframes, and so on. Now notice something. When I clicked my go to last frame or go to end playback range, I'm at the 30th frame. Right below this is our range slider. This is the time slider right here. So this is how I can navigate to whatever frame I want to be at, or park on, and so on. But underneath that we have a field and it reads 60, and it says set the end time of the animation. So my animation, my scene, is actually 60 frames. But in my time slider, I only see 30 frames. And just point of note, I should mention, this dialog box right here that reads now 21, because I'm at the 21st frame, you can jump to any frame very easily by just entering the value of 12, hit return, and you jump to it, okay? Okay, let's get back to what I was trying to talk about, which is this duration. I am only seeing 30 frames of my 60 frame animation, and that is controlled by this, which is called the range slider right underneath our time slider. You'll notice there's this gray, light gray bar. It has a 1 all the way over here in the beginning. It has a 30 right here at the end of this bar. I can take the end, click on this little icon, and just drag it. And what I'm doing is exposing more frames inside the time slider. The point of this is allowing you to focus or play back just the frames you need to be working on, depending upon your animation or the scene of what you're trying to do. I can drag on this right here, or I can come to this field right there that reads 53. I can enter, I want this to be at 60. So now my time slider is exposing or accessing all 60 frames of my scene. And you can adjust either the beginning or the end of the range slider. If I click over here, I drag this way, I set this up so I want to start at the 20th frame, and I only want to see to the 50th frame. So again, I can enter in the field for exact amount. Also, there's where it reads 20. This is the start for my playback range. And now the time slider is exposing or able to playback frame 20 to frame 50. Also understand you can just take the bar anywhere, just grab it, and I can shift it in time. I'm going to be exposing or using 30 frames of my 60 frame animation, but I can change what 30 frames I'm going to be working on. Let me come here and set this back to being 1 and set this back to being 30, the default. And of course, if you need to change the duration of the animation, you can do so with the set end time duration. If I need my animation to be 120 frames, I enter 120. Now if I click enter, you can see I now have a 120 frame scene, and I'm still only exposing 30 frames. I'll set this back to being 60, the default. A couple little icons right to the right of these fields that are kind of important. And that is the auto key, this little key. If I click on it, you'll see it turns red. Be very careful, because with auto key on, everything you change, you're creating keyframes. Don't know if that's what you want it to do at the moment, but if it is, you can turn this on and create keyframes very quickly, or turn it off and you can manually create keyframes. And again, animation is something we will look at in another video, not in this one. But going to the right of that, there's another little icon. And this was a little deceiving for one reason. Is the flyout is actually kind of wrong, but that's not a big deal. It says animation preferences. If I click on that, the preferences dialog box opens, but be honest with you, what we're looking at is the timeline preferences. There's the animation. I click animation, here's my animation preferences. Not a big deal, but time slider is what you will actually be looking at, the time slider preferences, when you click this little button down here. That is what you're going to access. And in here you can see all the control you have over your time slider. Lots of different controls. In fact, this preference dialog box, I should have brought it up and talked about it a little bit earlier. is you can access all these different preferences. In fact, let me close that just for a second. Go to Window, Setting, Preferences, Preferences, and you'll receive that same dialog box. And here's where we can change the interface. You can change the UI elements. Again, I can hide all the different elements. Remember, I showed you from the window menu option. You can access all this too from there. So again, multiple ways of doing the same thing, but here are the different preferences for display. Notice that in my background of my view, I've got a nice gradient. You can turn that on and off. Grid plane, you can hide the grid. All the different controls here. So spend some time going through these. It's a whole hour video just to cover all of these, if not even longer than that. But understand your preferences are available. But you can access the timeline slider preferences from this little icon right there that reads Animation Preferences. And then below that we have our command line area, which is right here. And you'll see it reads MEL, over here in the left corner. MEL stands for Maya Embedded Language, and it's the scripting language that pretty much runs everything that's happening in Maya as you're doing things. You don't realize it, but every time you move something or create something, you are creating a MEL script using your icons and your different transformation tools and so on. But that's really what you're doing, and you can customize MEL scripts to automate different processes, automate things, create custom tools. It's an extremely powerful part of the program. I mean, there's some other videos that go deeper into MEL scripting, but just understand that this is an actual field right here that you can enter your script to perform these tasks or automate processes and so on. Moving over this area, this is the display command response. It's telling you or showing you the last thing that you just did. Remember, I just saved my preferences because I was changing things, and when I closed them, I said save. So it's telling me the last command I performed was I saved my preferences. So you can enter your MEL script right here. This is going to display what recently has been done. And if you want to expose a floating dialog box to access a larger area to work with your MEL scripting and your recent commands, all the way over here on the right-hand side, the lower right-hand side, click that icon, and now you'll see the script editor will open. And if I expand this out by grabbing the corner, there you go. There's everything that I've been doing. So everything that I've done since I've started making these videos is a script that is running while I'm performing them. Whether I'm using the icons or dragging or whatever, you can see it's an actual script that is taking place. And now this lower section, this is the same as this area down here, is the large area where you can come in and enter your MEL scripts and so on. All right, let me close that. Like I said, there's some more videos that are being created and actually are already created on MEL scripting and the power of it for Maya LT. You can find those at the Autodesk website. And the very bottom of the UI, this is the helpline area. You can see that we get a flyout display saying or displaying exactly what is being shown in the help. So display short help tips for tools and selections. You'll see the flyout, but it also reads it right here. As I move my cursor around the UI, notice that the helpline area is telling me exactly what it is. You'll see we get these flyouts over different tools, and if there's a hotkey, it gives that to you also, which is very handy for learning a new application. But as I move along and go over anything, it's going to tell me what this is, what's happening, what are the options I have for either the tool I'm over, the icon I'm over, or the command that I'm about to perform. Now just above that, you'll see the Maya LT icon. This will access the Maya LT website. In fact, if I just click on it, now you'll see we're going to go right to the Maya LT page where you can get more resources and some support, community, and so on. So that's a quick access to the Maya LT web page if you want to get to it.